players called it football? Soccer?
You know, you play it with your feet.
Reading between the headlines. Soccer? But it's really called football. Soccer?
Hey everybody, welcome to Reading Between the Headlines. I'm Asaf. I welcome you to this lovely new variation on the channel, which I am calling Peruse the Headlines. What are we doing here? Well, it's very simple. We're Chelsea fans, and, well, when I say we, I mean me, Asaf. I'm a Chelsea fan, and I just want to catch up on the news. So what do? I go through the motions. I go through the websites. I check out in the wake of this past Sunday's game against Manchester City. Check out the post-match if I haven't already. Well, this time I actually haven't already. I have not watched the post-match with Enzo Maresca, so this is going to be my first time seeing it. And I'm going to react and discuss whatever he says right here live on the channel. And, we'll see what happens. I don't know if anybody's going to stop by right now. We're just going to go forward with it and see where things go. Okay, so first thing, as I say, that I wanted to do is check out after the 2-0 defeat at home in the opening game to Manchester City. Now, I'll just say at the outset, it was 1-0 for most of the game. And I think if you're a Chelsea fan and you watched the match, even before the match, it's not like we expected much. When I saw that fixture as the opening match, I thought to myself, well, that's not great. You kind of want to start off with a less difficult matchup, honestly. I mean, the only way that could get more difficult is Manchester City away. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And while you do want to start off with an easier matchup and maybe get a win, maybe get some confidence and start the season with some momentum, it is what it is. And I think most Chelsea fans will have tempered expectations. Now, that said, I'll say another positive thing. I don't think many Chelsea fans will have viewed that as a particularly poor performance by the boys. But I think that our weaknesses are, at least some of our weaknesses are kind of immediately available to see. Again, we don't have an established striker that we can really rely on, and that's a problem. When you go into a season and you don't even have, and it's another transitional season. When you go into another transitional season with a new manager, you kind of want to see somebody that can drag us through those difficult matches, and we don't have that very important piece of the puzzle, which is an established, proven striker. We don't have that. I see we do have a couple viewers. That's nice. That's fun. Yeah, so that's basically what I think. Just seeing the game, we didn't have high expectations, and we got what we expected. And although it was maybe a little bit better in terms of the performance, but again, going forward, problems. So I just want to go ahead and take a look and see what Enzo Maresca had to say after the match. It's clear that he's a very opinionated guy, and he seems to be coming into the role just immediately getting like early Mikel Arteta vibes at Arsenal, where it's just like, I don't care, I'll freeze out Ozil. I don't care, I'll freeze out Aubameyang. You know, he froze out Raheem Sterling. I haven't seen this post-match press conference, but I imagine some reporter will have asked him about Raheem Sterling, and I'd be interested to see what his response is. If nobody did, that'll be weird. But we're about to find out. I'm going to pull this up here. Here's the YouTube. Okay. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and watch this post-match Enzo Maresca post-match press conference and see what he had to say. See what he had to say for himself. I imagine. Well, let's just go for it. Why not?
Wstęp powiedział presję, muszę Chelsea competitive league match. What's your assessment?
I just said I think the performance was good. Unless the results that we don't like to lose, I think the performance was there. We compete, for me in this moment, probably against the best team in the world. We compete for large part of the game at the same level. For some,
right at the outset, I mean, I'll say, okay, cool, that's fine. Like, I get what he's saying, but I'm not gonna say the performance was good. I'm not gonna say the performance was good. I mean, I'm gonna say it was okay, but what is he?
I think the performance was good. Unless the results that we don't like to lose, I think the performance was there. We compete.
No.
For me, in this moment, probably against the best team in the world.
That's true.
We compete for large part of the game at the same level.
Sure.
For some moment, we were even better.
Okay, so I will say this. He says some moments we were even better, and I gotta say, yeah. Actually, if you look at the stats, and not that the stats are everything, but if you look at the stats throughout most of that match, we had possession actually on Manchester City. We actually had more accurate passes for most of the game until towards the second part of the second half, maybe the last quarter of the game, where Manchester City started to pull ahead of us. But the game had sort of changed, and we were chasing it, and Manchester City were, sitting back and passing the ball around in their half. Because there was no rush for them. They had the lead and they do what they do best. But I will say for most of the match, much of the match, we had higher possession, higher accurate passes than Manchester City. But of course, the glaring problem, as always, as was last season, is that we don't have that proven striker. And look what happens with them. Not that they need an Erling Haaland, but when nothing was necessarily going the Manchester City way for them, it wasn't a particularly outstanding performance from Manchester City. When things weren't exactly the Manchester City way for them, they had Erling Haaland to put in a goal. A beautiful finish. I mean, that's something I wouldn't put money on Nicholas Jackson finishing, I'll tell you that much. But they had Erling Haaland to put that goal in. And so I say this again. That's a glaring problem at Chelsea that is the same as last season. We are in a transitional phase and we don't have a proven established striker to get us through things. And yeah, we have Cole Palmer and he did it for much of last season. But I mean, that's another thing, and maybe I'll touch on this later, but Cole Palmer was basically ghost that entire match. I mean, he was not, he barely was there until the very end where he started to maybe think, oh crap, I got to do something here for the team because nobody's doing anything and we need a goal and we're behind. So, but it didn't work out. It was too little too late. And of course, Manchester City did have the late, was it a late goal? When was that goal actually? In the end, the goal came in. Yeah, it was a late goal, the Mateo Kovacic goal. Little consolation prize that he did not celebrate. That was nice. That was cute. I'll take it. Anything at this point. But okay, let's see what else Maresca has to say. I could go on and on about this.
We create chances, and I think the big difference today between us and them was especially inside the box and the way they managed the ball the last part of the game, that they are master on that.
That's true, like I just said.
Overall, I think
they know
the
how to manage
performance
the game. They
was
know how to
quite
pass
good.
the ball around in their backfield.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think it's true that we created a ton of chances. No. No. But we did have some. We did create some. And unfortunately, Nicholas Jackson ain't Erling Haaland.
I think Jackson and Palmer have started the game together as a three. What did you make of that, the way they combined?
No, the reason why is because Nicolas was injured, Cole was not with us, Christo worked with us since day one. But I think all of them, they did a good game. We use Cristo already in different position, but
Okay, BS. I don't think you could say Nicholas Jackson had a good game. Sorry. His job is to score goals, and he had a couple chances, and he didn't do it. So no.
I think all of
No.
them today, even Romeo, Caicedo, Moy, I think all of them they did.
Yeah, Lavia was probably one of the bright spots. I thought Romeo Lavia actually. I was thinking, oh crap, that's why we spent that money on him last season when he was injured, you know. So that's one. Who else did he say?
Did a very good game.
And
Hi, Enzo. Might I just ask, just a little bit off the pitch, if I may, about your decision to make Enzo Fernandez captain? It's caused quite a bit of controversy given what happened with him in the summer over his comments. I just wondered if you might explain that to us,
Okay.
please.
No,
Whatever.
Yeah, I think Enzo is one of the captain of this team. Is not the only one. We have Reese. We have some more captain there. The reason why is because
Yeah,
I
when
can
are they
see
going to
that
ask
his
about
teammates,
Raheem?
they
Is the
recognize
question.
him like a reference, like a captain. And he was already captain in the preseason when we changed Reese during the game.
Sound.
So this the reason why I said already before the game. I think all of us we make mistake. It's important to recognize. Enzo did a mistake, recognize the mistake, and it's finished.
Yeah,
In the end,
that's an old.
it's
That's
nothing-
really
nothing
an old
important.
Do you
controversy.
think it sends out,
Boring.
what sort of message do you think it sends out?
Second, sorry.
Just because I think it's been investigated at the moment,
Boring.
but also there's been quite a lot of controversy.
Loser reporter.
So do you think it's...
Nobody
the
cares
message
anymore,
that it
bro.
sends that he's there, made the captain? I'm just
Fofana's over
interested
it.
in your
Everybody's
take.
over it.
No, I think I don't know you, but I did a mistake in the past, and I recognize. And I think as a human being, if you did a mistake and you recognize, you are not going to be punished. for
I know,
life.
dude.
So Enzo did a
I'm
mistake.
saying the
recognize.
same.
For me, it's one of the
Literally,
reference. And
again,
I
the
don't
one
know,
difference
nothing to add.
between us and City kind of that game, because City weren't that great either, you have to admit. I mean, they weren't, it wasn't like a classic Manchester City performance, but they had Erling Haaland. If we had Victor Osimhen, then maybe something different would have happened. You know what I'm saying?
Nizar?
Enzo, you said Raheem was a technical decision, but was it the same for Axel Disasi, Ben Chilwell, and Kai Chuk?
I would say the performance
No,
was
Axel is back from the
okay.
injury.
I
He's
don't
not
know if I
still
would even say
100%.
good. I would
Chile
say
in the
okay.
last 3 days he has been ill, and the other one was no. Carney has been taking a decision. Yeah.
Okay. And does that show maybe that these are good players? Two of them that you've left out for technical decision are good players, but is it a bit too much in the squad? Is there too many options? Is selling players very important now?
No, I think I said already until the window transfer finish close, we can sell players or we can buy players. In the moment that finish it's close, probably it's much better, but not only for me, for all the manager in the world.
When is that?
But it's
When is that window closed, actually? Let's see. When does Premier League transfer window close? Okay, August 30th. Well, it ain't over, I guess. We still could get Osimhen, I suppose. That would be great.
has been difficult to take the first 11. The reason why is because we had some more players on the bench that probably they deserve to start to play.
But let's be real, like it wouldn't be the administration has made it clear that they want to get cheaper, younger, lower wage players, and they've basically stuck to that. I mean, the only guy they've gotten who's established is Pedro Neto, and I bet you his wages aren't that high.
I don't know, like Misha or like some different player, but sometimes you have to take a decision, and yeah.
You worry players won't be very happy with you though if there's players being left out of technical decisions.
There it is.
Even if
There's
you're
the
in
Raheem
squad,
Sterling
is that
question.
gonna be hard for you to manage?
No, I don't think so. It's my job to manage these kind of things. I don't have any problem.
Yeah, but I
For
don't
me, I have to
agree
take
with
decisions.
Raheem Sterling
Sometimes,
leaving him
player
out.
likes,
That's stupid.
sometimes no. But I said already many times, I play football for 20 years. And when you train and you don't play, you are not happy. But it's not all the players, they are the same.
Yeah, but he should have at least been on the bench.
Michael Williams with Steve Fofana, they are very young centre backs, and they didn't start before like on a competitive game in the Premier League together. How do you think they've responded? Again, one of the best teams in the world today, and against one of the best strikers.
No, I think they compete very well. I think all the team, all the players, they compete very well. I said probably the big difference between us has been very tiny, very small. For instance, the first goal for them was was almost offside. The goal that we scored with the Nicolas was almost inside. It's tiny difference, and we create chances. We didn't take the chances, but for me the difference between us and them today was inside the box.
I mean, yeah, but not because we were good, because City were not City.
What do you think of that performance?
I think it was very good performance from all of them.
What?
Okay.
All of them?
What do you think of that performance?
I think it was very
If
good
he's talking
performance
about
from all
specifically
of them.
Colwell and Fofana,
Okay.
it was okay. That Kovacic goal, like he had so much space, but maybe that's Caicedo's fault.
Do you think that you will be here after the transfer window ends? Is it part of your plan?
I don't know. The only thing I can say again that has been taken a decision,
Or back
and the
on
next
Sterling.
day probably we're gonna sit and clarify the situation. But it's nothing more than that. Then for all the players that in this moment they are Chelsea player, if they're gonna be Chelsea player, we're gonna try to use them, but no more than technical decision.
So can I just clarify, do you want Raheem Sterling to stay at this club?
I want Raheem Sterling, but I want all the 30 players that we have, but there is no space for all of them. So
Oh,
for some
no.
of them, they have to
Okay,
leave.
Bobby.
there he goes.
I'm just going to ask about that.
Looks like
So,
One more, come on, one more.
that's something.
Raheem, Carney, I know you said Axel was injured. I know you've spoken about
Damn,
them, but, did they
he
still
is
have an
cold as ice
opportunity
about Raheem.
to
I'm
impress you in
not
training
a
and
fan of
break
this.
into those squads on a weekly basis?
I think every case is
At least in the short term.
In
In the long term, if you don't want him,
I
fine,
think it's
but
very good
you
player.
want to move away from him.
The
But
problem is because of some injury in
if
the
you want to
past,
move away from Raheem in the long term, okay, I understand. There's probably better wingers out there. I mean, at times he's been, one of the top wingers in the Premier League, natural out and out wingers in the Premier League, in my opinion. 1v1, there's not many better than Raheem. But in the short term, we need all those veteran established players that we can get because we're not buying any. And the administration is not going to buy any. It doesn't seem like they want to. So I'm not a fan of this freezing Raheem Sterling out. We need those guys, okay? But whatever. Maresca going Maresca.
I think the best thing for him is to play 30-35 games in a row and to show himself that he is fit and how good he is, because he's very good. With us, is he going to play 35 games? I'm not sure. So it's a bit difference. Again, for Raheem, it's just taking a decision. In the next day, we see, we clarify the situation if we need to clarify, and no more than that.
one more. Davide?
Cool.
Enzo.
Not a
First
fan.
game, you said before the game you're happy with the progress you've made so far. Has the first game changed your perspective?
No, absolutely. I think today again. I think we were better than last game against Inter, and this is the most important thing, to improve game after game. That for me is very clear that we are improving, and the direction is the right direction. I said the other day, in my expectation, I didn't think that the team was already so ahead. So I think the direction is the good one. I don't have any doubt.
Okay,
That,
better than Inter is your standard here. I mean, the whole preseason was joke, right? Like, it was very, very awful, very, very awful, terrible, terrible performances. Again, I think it was decent against City. And I'm optimistic. I'm an optimistic guy in general. I'm that guy that's like staring down the haters usually. But I'm already not a fan of a couple of these recent decisions.
with day by day, this team is getting better, and we're gonna have days where we win games, and we are all more happy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that's that. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So not really getting much out of there. I can see where his mind is at. He's basically, it was a decent performance. Let's be real, Manchester City were not Manchester City that we know. They were better than us slightly maybe. and they just had the striker. But we need, as Julius over here, Alakinde says, yeah, we need to go get Osimhen. We need to get a striker, some established striker, if we want to be able to pull through, scratch through these games, and maybe have a season that isn't embarrassing, because we've had already enough embarrassing seasons in recent memory. So it would be nice to get out of that. But I'm going to throw up a poll here. It's just Raheem Sterling, yes or no, because, and I'll just leave that on for a while because I'm curious what people think. You know, I think it's a mistake to freeze him out. I think it's a mistake to do that sort of thing to your veteran players when you don't have a lot of them, and it doesn't look like the administration is going to invest in any guys who are established and have high wages or have a high price tag. So that's my opinion. Whatever. I'm not totally opposed to phasing Raheem out, moving ahead of Raheem. I just think in the short term, it's probably a dumb decision. But okay, so let's see what's going on in the news here. And we'll take that off. Well, let's just go right into the belly of the beast. Let's go to the Daily Mail. Let's do it. Okay, here we go. Oh boy. They love to have the background ads. It's so annoying. Okay, so yeah, that was interesting. Tottenham. This isn't exactly Chelsea news, but I always like to see Jamie Vardy get a goal and steal a point for the team against the big dogs. In this case, Tottenham. They did end up stealing a point away, or a couple points away from Tottenham, and getting themselves a point at the end of the game with a late goal from Jamie Vardy. Being an old man myself, I'm always going to appreciate the old men getting it done, and Jamie Vardy is one of those guys. So, much respect to him. Let's pick Chelsea here so we don't see all the other things. Okay, so let's see. Topic of the day, apparently. Just as I say, Raheem Sterling is in the news. It was pretty sad because if you looked at his Instagram I checked out his Instagram about a few hours before the Chelsea match. He had posted Chelsea versus Manchester City, basically a let's go poster of himself. And he did not get chosen even for the bench. So that was sad. He had no clue he was going to be frozen out entirely. I mean, I wonder when he found out, did he show up to the locker room and he was like, holy crap, I'm not even on the bench? Yeah, but apparently that happened. So here we go. This is from Ian Ladyman, I guess. Who's Ian Ladyman? I don't even know who he is. I guess he's a writer for the Daily Mail. Raheem Sterling is just the latest star thrown from the Stamford Bridge waltzer. I have no idea what a waltzer is, writes Ian Ladyman. Chelsea continue to spin the wheel like drunks in a casino, hoping their number comes up. I mean, not going to lie. I mean, the Daily Mail tends to be a little hyperbolic and tends to be a little bit, slap you in the face, but let's click on it. You got my click. Shortly after Chelsea signed Raheem Sterling, the say-so of manager Thomas Tuchel 2 years ago, he made his Premier League debut on the opening day of the 2022-2023 season in a game at Everton. There were 20 players in the squad on that early August day, 11 starters and 9 substitutes. On Sunday, can we stop these ads? Goddamn Daily Mail. On Sunday, as Sterling watched his club's game against Manchester City from his home in London, only one of those players had survived. The Spanish defender Marc Cucurella was a substitute 2 years ago and started the weekend defeat against City. And he was good. I mean, why wouldn't he start after that really good performance throughout the Euro Cup and winning with Spain? Yeah, Cucurella is going to start. And obviously another one of Maresca's freeze-outs is Ben Chilwell, who another one of our established veterans, although with some injury problems. Maybe that's an issue now even too. But basically told him to go elsewhere to get minutes, Maresca. he is not pulling any punches, I'll tell you that much. And he's not gaining many fans. But, like, again, I think he's giving off major Mikel Arteta vibes from early on in his Arsenal career. And it didn't start well for Mikel Arteta, but it's starting to... I mean, to be fair, he does have, like, 2 Community Shields and an FA Cup win. But, I mean, that's not what we're looking for, I guess. But, yeah, hopefully we do better than Arteta did early on there. So there you have the modern Chelsea, not so much a football club as a sporting version of the waltzer, a wild ride from which anybody can be thrown at any times and from which just about everybody will at some point. Some of those players from Goodison Park are still around. Reece James is injured. Okay, that Goodison Park game, right? Ben Chilwell is in the cold. We just talked about that. Others are doing rather well at rival Premier League clubs. Kai Havertz, who cost Chelsea £75 million, scored for Arsenal at the weekend. That's right. He is doing better at Arsenal than he did for us, I guess, in some people's estimation, although we'll never forget his winning goal against Manchester City in the Champions League in 2021. The Italian midfielder Jorginho plays for Arsenal too. He's doing quite well for them as well, playing a good role, although he's not starting, let's be real, in most games. Mason Mount is hoping to resurrect his career at Manchester United, while the Croatian Mateo Kovacic scored for City on Sunday. Yes, that was against Chelsea. Again, he did not celebrate. Thank you, Mateo. We love you. And it wasn't a winner or an equalizer or something like that. Like years ago, Frank Lampard scored against us for Manchester City. That was heartbreaking. And we move on. Anyone, then, who thinks that the weekend's brouhaha about Sterling is really quite wrong, then why is this article about him? The 29-year-old is in the middle of it, or on the outside of it, to be precise, but this is a Chelsea problem, a byproduct of a transfer policy that continues to follow no discernible pattern. I would argue that it follows a discernible pattern, and it's mostly like, don't get a striker and spend as little as you can on a bunch of youth players. Oh, well, to be fair, they did buy Mark Guiu, but again, he's not an established striker. He's a young guy. So I don't know. No discernible pattern is how I would describe it. Sterling is the man stuck in the web this week. Next, the big and brash spider of the King's Road will claim another victim. Modern footballers are indulged beyond measure, but some things do not change. All of them need structure to work from and solid ground on which to stand. Sterling was bought by Tuchel as a lead goal scorer, and the German said so at the time. He was bought by Tuchel as a lead goal scorer. Did he say that at the time? And that always felt like a mistake. Yeah, well, he's not that guy. He's not a lead goal scorer. No, but he is an out-and-out winger who is a quite natural and quite great one-on-one. There was nothing on the England player's resume to suggest he would ever fulfill that role. Correct. He's not a big-time goal scorer throughout a season, although he does have hot periods. Since then, Sterling has worked under 5 different coaches: Tuchel, Graham Potter, Frank Lampard, Mauricio Pochettino, Enzo Maresca. Except he hasn't really had any minutes under Maresca. It's the answer to a good quiz question, but absolutely no platform on which any footballer can be asked to produce his best form. None of which is to criticize Maresca for his decision to omit Sterling on Sunday. I do. I think he should have been on the bench. There were players on the bench against City that you could easily have replaced with Raheem Sterling, and it would have been a good choice. Sorry. Nothing against Mudryk. And I would say even Madueke. I would leave Madueke on there just because he has like that X factor. We can just produce maybe something out of nothing. But Mudryk, I'm sorry. And a couple of other like young players that you could easily have omitted from the bench and put Sterling on the bench instead of. So it feels like there's something else here, but okay. This guy, Ian, whoever wrote this article, feels that he's not going to criticize Maresca for that. I do. The new Chelsea coach has to find a way through that massive bodies at the club's training ground and pick 11 for a match. Yeah, except he was not even on the bench. The only way to do that is to choose the ones you fancy. How much is left here? Seems like a lot. All right, now we'll read through it. Okay. Equally, the decision of Sterling's advisors to release a statement in reaction to Mail Sports' story about their client's exclusion was questionable. In fact, it was a mistake. It made Sterling come across as entitled and precious when he isn't. Sometimes it's better to let silence talk for you, and this may have been one of those occasions. That statement placed Sterling on the wrong side of the debate, even if the clarity it sought referred to the future rather than one isolated football decision. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of always of the opinion that you should shut up and not act spoiled. Sterling will also look back at his 2 years at Chelsea and know that he could have played better football. He has lacked consistency, and his numbers are not good enough for a player of his experience and quality. At the start of last season, he looked sharp and dangerous coming off the right side under Mauricio Pochettino, only for a young player called Cole Palmer to arrive from City of all places. That was the end of that one almost immediately. When these things happen, footballers simply have to respond. It's called competition. Sterling arguably hasn't risen to it often enough or well enough with City, Chelsea, or indeed with England. At Chelsea this summer, he figured in preseason games, believed he'd had good conversations with Maresca about his role, and had been asked to feature in some of the club's summer media rollouts. And then it changed, and that blindsided him. Those close to him believe that volte-face may have been at the behest of people higher up at the Chelsea food chain than the coach. It is easy to see the argument, though it is one firmly refuted by Chelsea and indeed Maresca. Not that that means anything. The two players who played on the left on Sunday, Christopher Nkunku and substitute Pedro Neto, cost more than £100 million between them, which is really not a whole lot when, well, I mean, it's a lot, right? But it's not like a ridiculous astronomical amount for two forwards, right? Any good forward these days is costing you at least 50 million, and Nkunku was a lot. I don't know if Neto, I think Nkunku was a lot more. Probably Neto was the smaller bit of that 100 million. Maybe there is pressure, spoken or otherwise, for them to feature. I don't feel like Maresca is going to be pressured by price tags to feature players. I think he's going to choose whoever he thinks is right, and he's that type of guy, and he's shown that. That kind of money is not usually spent to see players sitting on the sidelines, but then at Chelsea it also kind of is. Okay, so you're refuting your point that you just made. It's an old criticism of the club, but it's also one that endures. Maresca also has another left-sided player of note to think about. For example, the Ukrainian Mikhailo Mudryk cost Chelsea almost £90 million when he was bought from Shakhtar Donetsk in January of 2023. Yeah, the guy didn't even feature on the pitch. Okay, so it doesn't seem like that's a thing. 6 months after Sterling's debut, his great champion Tuchel was already long gone by the time Mudryk arrived. Of course he was. By the April, his replacement Potter had gone too. And so it goes on. Chelsea continued to spin the wheel like drunks in a casino, hoping that eventually their number will come up enough times to fool everyone that they know what they are doing. I don't think anybody thinks they know what they're doing right now. I think we all think that the administration has no clue what they're doing. And it's not. I mean, I think it'll get better in the end. Like, they'll learn things, but they really don't right now. All the while, as night follows day, players like Raheem Sterling will get caught in the backdraft. How they choose to deal with it may not always be perfect. Yeah, that's true. Okay, whatever. I mean, yeah. Some true things, some not. What else they got for us? Jamie Carragher insists players have to stop signing for Chelsea. F you, Jamie Carragher. Shut your goddamn yap, all right? Never has a damn good thing to say about Chelsea, but to be fair, why would he? As Liverpool, with Enzo Maresca's squad continuing to grow, as the Liverpool legend, shut up with this narrative, continuing to grow. Yeah, because we have dumb players like Romelu Lukaku, who's getting like £350 million, and he's never going to play for us, and he never should play for us because he's toxic and he's not a great striker. Period. End of story. But I wish Jamie Carragher would just shut his damn yap sometimes. Damn, I just lost it a little bit there. I mean, he's just such a pain in the ass sometimes. At least he's not as bad as Craig Burley. He used to be a Chelsea player. And I wish he would shut his damn yap sometimes talking about Chelsea, man. don't bite the hand that used to feed, all right? I mean, do what you want, to be fair. Conor Gallagher given permission to fly to Madrid again and finalize his £34 million move from Chelsea to Atletico. This is a funny one because, I mean, sorry about that. Yeah, that's a funny one because there was a comment or two from the commentators, like kind of slapping Dewsbury Hall in the face, just saying that it was interesting that Chelsea had not quite yet, but it seemingly were prepared to sell Gallagher to Atletico Madrid. And what, they buy Dewsbury Hall? I don't know Dewsbury Hall that way, but that well, but replacing Gallagher with Dewsbury Hall, I don't know, man. Another questionable move. I don't even know what Gallagher's wages were. Like, were Gallagher's wages all that high? I don't think so. Another one. He may be punching back on behalf of himself. Gallagher, Chalobah. Gary Neville suggests Raheem Sterling's statement might have been aimed at alerting people to the chaotic situation at Chelsea. Nobody needs to be alerted about the chaotic situation at Chelsea. We all know that we're Manchester Uniting all over the place right now. That deep, dark spiral that Manchester United has been in for a while now. Chelsea under new ownership seems like it's going that direction. All right. Again, like, here's a headline that, I mean, I'm sure if we read it, the stats are there. Raheem Sterling outperformed most of his fellow Chelsea wingers last season, according to stats. But what next for Blues star after he was brutally left out of Enzo Maresca's squad for Manchester City clash? Again, that's why in the short term I say Raheem Sterling is a yes. But I can understand wanting to phase him out, but in the short term, there were plenty of people on the bench that Raheem could have been subbed for, and maybe Raheem could have made a difference against City. Honestly, like, he could have. Okay, let's. Oh, this is actually good news. If this is true, double check this. Let's just see here a second. Transfers. Okay, well, that headline was saying that Chelsea have picked up Joao Felix, but I don't see him here. Let's read the article, I guess, right? But I am a fan of Joao, so hopefully, to be fair, hopefully that's true. But here we go. Okay, let's get back to, there we go. Chelsea reach agreement to re-sign Joao Felix from Atletico Madrid on 6-year deal to become their 13th summer signing, pushing Raheem Sterling further down the pecking order and paving way for Conor Gallagher's move to Spain. Yeah. Okay, so FotMob hasn't put that on the app yet, so wherever this is coming from, maybe this is like insider and it hasn't been confirmed. Let's find out. But I'm not going to complain about that, although, to be fair, Joao Felix did not really shine at Chelsea in his last stint. I think probably, just my opinion of Joao is that he's exceptionally talented. Does he have other issues? Is there something else going on? Is he not going to self-realize, like self-actualize, become the greatest player that he could be? Maybe not. I don't know. But I do see Maresca as a guy that's going to be able to work with young players that haven't fulfilled their aspirations, because he has worked with I think the reserve team at Manchester City, and he's just a meat and potatoes kind of guy in football, it seems. So it would be interesting to see if he could get Joao I would be willing to bet some money that he could get Felix to really step up. Let's read the article. See what's going on here. Chelsea have agreed to sign a deal to sign Joao Felix from Atletico Madrid, further complicating Raheem Sterling. Yes, we know that. We'll skip that. It doesn't seem like Maresca rates Raheem Sterling, and he definitely could have at least put him on the bench instead of like Mudryk or some other like youth players there. But he decided not to, so it seems pretty obvious that Maresca is not into Raheem, and Raheem ain't going to be playing for Chelsea, but we'll find out. 29-year-old England, and now that he's getting Felix is, as this article says, is even more evidence that, Maresca ain't trying to play Raheem Sterling. Sorry, it seems that way. The 29-year-old England international, who's under contract until 2027, that might cost us money, was squeezed out of Enzo Maresca's squad for Sunday's loss to Manchester City as new signing Pedro Neto, Christopher Nkunku, and Mikhailo Mudryk were selected instead. Again, there were probably some other people on the bench that could have been replaced with Raheem. Sources in Spain have suggested the fee for Felix is 45 million euros. That's sounds pretty cut rate for such a young player of such talent, plus 5 million euros in add-ons. Though Chelsea insiders have not yet stood up that figure, they haven't necessarily, I don't think they've even come out and said that they've signed him, unless that's on their Instagram or something, which we can check out. Let's find out. Is it on their Instagram? Chelsea FC. Oh, no, not women's. Chelsea FC women's. Wow, what, Fatih? I see you, bro. Yeah, there's nothing about Joao here, so I don't see why Daily Mail is reporting on that, but I guess they are. Maybe this is just insider rumor, blah, 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 blah. The arrival of the 24-year-old is likely to unlock Conor Gallagher's move to Atletico in a separate deal after his switch was stalled last week from Samu Omorodian's own transfer collapsed. But there's no announcement about Joao. It would be nice, I gotta say. I'd be happy about Joao because I always liked him. The fee for Gallagher is set to remain at the previously agreed 40 million euros. Again, okay, we'll talk about that. Yet Sterling can now only wonder what his own future holds ahead of returning to Cobham on Tuesday, with the players having a pre-planned day off on Monday following their 2-0 defeat by City. Pre-planned day off. Better be. Okay, Maresca explained to Sterling after training on Friday that he was facing stiff competition for incoming signings, hence his upcoming omission from the squad on Sunday. Okay, but that doesn't make any sense because this is saying that Maresca explained to Sterling on Friday that his upcoming omission, he was going to be omitted from the squad on Sunday. If that's true, then why did Sterling, after being so annoyed with it and like his people coming out saying that he was annoyed with it, why did Sterling post on his story on Instagram 9 hours before the match that on Sunday that he posted himself? I wish I had taken a screenshot of this. He posted a screenshot of himself and the fixture, the date of the fixture, Manchester City versus Chelsea, and it was him like kicking a soccer ball. I don't know. It doesn't really make any sense if that's the case. Chelsea's head coach explained it was a technical decision and one he made himself. Sterling's camp asked the club for clarification on his future in a statement revealed by Mail Sport, and now the club's sizable squad is set to make a mega money addition to his favored position. Chelsea still have significant work to do in this transfer window as they look to offload several stars from their bloated squad. Romelu Lukaku is wanted by Antonio Conte at Napoli. Please sell Lukaku to Conte. Please sell him. I love Conte. God bless his heart for wanting to take Lukaku off our hands. And I will lose money on that. Let's just get rid of the guy, okay? He's getting like £350,000 a week. Please get rid of Lukaku. Please. While Maresca as much as admitted at his last press conference that Carney Chukwuemeka can leave this summer. Okay, I didn't see that. He said that about Carney. I know he said that about Ben Chilwell, Kepa Arrizabalaga, Trevor Chalobah, who I wish we would keep and actually play because I like him. Ben Chilwell, we talked about. David Fofana, George Petrovic, and Armando Broja are among the others available for sale between now and the August 30 deadline. Several of those above have been training away from the first team facilities. I still don't understand why Petrovic is not starting. Why? Like, who likes Sanchez more than Petrovic? Seem like, to be fair, I think Petrovic probably would have saved that goal from that Kovacic strike. I'm not saying it wasn't a very good strike from Kovacic, but it just seems, I mean, Sanchez got a hand to it. I don't know. It seems like Petrovic is more reliable keeper. End of. Chelsea will face Servette in the first leg of their Conference League playoff this Thursday. I'm so hype about that. So hype about that. But Sterling does not yet know if he will be in the squad. Oh, I'm sure he just really wants to be in that squad, right? Okay, so let's go and just look at Servette for a second. I don't even know where they're. Are they Bulgarian? I think they're Bulgarian. What are they? Swiss. Okay, Swiss team. Here we go. Swiss team. They've played 5 matches, and they're in 5th place on the table. They have 3 wins, 2 losses in their league, the Swiss Super League. And, yeah, we're going to play them. Okay, so, yeah, it would have been nice. It'll be good. It'll be good to have that game, and we better win that game. If we don't win this game against Servette, like, I think that's going to be major trouble. Okay, we have to show up for that, and we have to win it. Otherwise, I mean, Maresca's going to be under. I mean, whatever. He doesn't seem like he's a guy that's going to cave to pressure either. Honestly, he seems like a very strong personality, and he's going to do what he wants. He's going to say the honest truth of what he thinks, even if, like I've said in the past, it's a dumb financial choice to say things like, "Yeah, we're willing to get, Chilwell should go find minutes elsewhere." Yeah. Okay, that might be true for you. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if some Chelsea fans agree with that. But it seems like a dumb financial choice to say at a press conference that you're willing to part with a star player at the squad. Like that just lowers the price. That just seems stupid. But yeah, again, Maresca seems like that type of guy. Not a stupid guy, but just like a meat and potatoes guy that's going to say what's on his mind. He's not going to give any Fs. And yeah, so I don't think he's on the flip side. I don't think he's going to cave to any pressures. I don't think he's going to feel the pressure as much. I don't think he's going to care. But I also think we will beat Servette. The question is where the goal's going to come from. But when you play against much lower level, like I think people like Nicholas Jackson will score more, and that's when we start to look better than we are. Maybe I could see him starting Madueke, and maybe Madueke getting a goal. Yeah, but yeah, at the end of the day, we still need to win that game. Still need to win that. Okay. So that's that. Okay. Why don't we head over to the Chelsea Chronicle and see what the hell they're saying over there? Okay. Okay, so here we go. This headline is, oh gosh, ads. I saw a £30 million Chelsea player prove he should start the next game instead of Enzo Fernandez. Such clickbait. Such clickbait. All right. Click it. Who's he talking about? Romeo Lavia? No. Because he did not cost £30 million. He was like a lot more than that. Oh, he's talking about Dewsbury Hall over Enzo. Okay, I know people are ripping on Enzo Fernandez, but no, bad writer, bad writer. I know people are not happy with Enzo, but you really think Dewsbury Hall should start over him? All right, let's skip ahead here. Chelsea should start Kiernan Dewsbury Hall over Enzo Fernandez. No one knows the midfielder's game better than Maresca, who was in charge of him at Leicester City before his £30 million move to West London. His ability to link the midfield and attack could have been crucial in key moments yesterday, with Fernandez being the player who picked up the ball at the edge of the box in big opportunities. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I don't think Enzo was as bad as people were saying. Anyway, the Englishman was brought on as a second half substitute, as well as Pedro Neto, and the Blues had a few minutes where they were pushing for an equalizer before City wrestled back control. Chelsea have a number of games coming in quick succession now, both in Europe and the Premier League, and this will bring a number of opportunities for the manager to experiment with different combinations across the pitch. Midfield is in the next game against the Swiss fifth place team, Servette, or whatever the hell their name is. I think it's Servette. Yeah, okay, you could start Dewsbury Hall, whatever. Midfield is certainly one area where he should look to do this, and Dewsbury Hall deserves the opportunity to start with the freedom of playing behind the attack in coming games. This could also help them get more out of Cole Palmer, who cut a frustrated figure at times as he struggled to get properly involved against his former side. Yeah, okay, but I don't see that as Enzo's fault, to be fair. Cole Palmer was non-existent most of the game. All of the attention that should have been on Enzo Maresca and the Chelsea squad starting their Premier League campaign was instead centered around one player. Raheem Sterling put himself at the forefront of attention after he was actually left out of the matchday squad to take on former side Manchester City. Okay. No, I think plenty of people were pissed off about Enzo for whatever reason. Again, I'm just going to say this. I think Enzo has quality that nobody else on the roster at Chelsea has, like technical ability, and I don't know, maybe he has a confidence problem, and so like he's hot and cold, but I'm still a fan of Enzo, Enzo Fernandez, so whatever. I don't think starting Dewsbury Hall ahead of him. I mean, look, give him a chance. Give him a chance in the Conference League, Dewsbury Hall, fine. Start him ahead of Enzo Fernandez. Nobody's feelings get hurt. And sorry, Servette fans out there, but like against Servette, if Dewsbury Hall shows himself, then fine. Maybe start him ahead of Enzo Fernandez, fine. Give it a shot. I don't know, whatever. Jamie Carragher was critical of Sterling for the timing. Carragher again. For the timing and decision to speak out, and supporters will no doubt have been frustrated. There was something overshadowing their Premier League curtain raiser. Yeah. Lineker, Jamie Carragher, just shut your yap, please. I'm just going to say that again. How many times in a stream can I say Jamie Carragher, shut your yap? But I'm just going to, maybe we should get a counter and just count every time I say that. Lineker has suggested that maybe the move was done in the face of transfer talks surrounding him and as somewhat of a come and get me plea to the other sides. Okay, Lineker, you could shut up too. Joao Felix signing could be the end of Sterling at Chelsea. Yeah, okay, so here's that report again. That makes two reports about Joao Felix, even though Chelsea have not announced it, but maybe we're moments away from that. It has been reported that decision makers at the club are keen to move the attacker on. However, his current wages make that difficult. Raheem Sterling, yeah, okay, fine. Since yesterday, though, it has been reported the potential signing of Joao Felix could mean the end. Right, okay. I'm sure. Okay, so yeah, we know the narrative is the squad is bloated, and yeah, it's getting more bloated, whatever. But I still think we should have had Sterling on the bench yesterday. Yesterday. It is what it is. So okay, let's move on to another article. Let's see if there's something else here. Okay, I don't care about Gary Lineker's theory. about Raheem Sterling, blah, blah, blah. Don't care. Trevor Chalobah, really impressed by elite Chelsea player in 2-0 defeat to Manchester City. I'm surprised he's even speaking positively at all, because if I was him, I'd be pissed off. Why? I mean, I still don't understand why Chelsea fans aren't pissed off about this. Why are Chelsea fans not pissed off that... I'm not going to say... it makes sense that Fofana and I like Colwill too. I'm a fan of Colwill, so I'm not too upset about it. But I do think Chalobah is better than people give him credit for. I think he's really good. Okay, let's just see. Who is he impressed by? Okay, I was impressed by Romeo Lavia. Yeah, I'm gonna agree. Lavia was good. I think everybody that watched that game was pretty impressed by Lavia, actually, and it was nice to see it, because when we spent all that money on a young player who's not really established, and I don't even remember what we paid for him. Let's find out. Romeo Lavia transfer fee. Right. It was 84.36 million euros. I guess according to ESPN, 73.7 million pounds for Lavia. Yeah. So I think when we all saw that, Chelsea spend that much money on a player that is injured for the whole season, it was a little weird. But now that we did see him, I'm starting to think, you know what? Maybe, just maybe. Especially because of his age, maybe that was not too bad, actually. Gary Neville says Chelsea player looked worried to death against Manchester City. All right, clickbait. Let's see what you got for us. Oh. Yeah, at times, the ball was at the feet of Robert Sanchez for a number of seconds as Blues assessed their options before going forwards. The Spaniard has not been the most popular figure at Chelsea in recent times, with many not convinced he is the man to play in goal on the long-term basis. Yeah, because Petrovic was really good. I don't see why they took Petrovic out. Gary Neville is one of those who has been critical of him after yesterday, saying he looked nervous as he fights for a regular place in the side. He said to the Gary Neville podcast, the goalkeeper was a disappointment, and I always fear when obviously someone gets signed like Jorgensen has been signed, you think he is looking over his shoulder, worried to death a little bit. Maybe we saw that with Sanchez today because he did look a little nervy. Yeah, well, it's still early. That makes sense, okay? Gary Neville with probably on point there. Philip Jorgensen pushing for Chelsea start. Sanchez was not at his strongest when on the ball yesterday. Romeo Lavia was left fuming when he gave the ball away in a very dangerous area early in the second half. I didn't notice that, but that's interesting because I didn't see that, but I do like to see young players who should not feel all that confident with displaying disappointment or like that kind of emotion. I like to see somebody fuming. So to me, Romeo Lavia left fuming when Sanchez gave the ball away in a dangerous area. To me, that's great. That says a lot about Romeo Lavia. And not only was his performance good, but it seems like his attitude is on point for a winning team. So that's very good to hear. I missed that moment, I guess. The fact that Maresca didn't name any of his new signings in the starting 11 yesterday saw Philip Jorgensen remain on the bench for the first game of the season. However, there is no doubt that he will be fighting for a starting place as the Blues hope they have found a regular number one at last. Again, I don't see why Sanchez was chosen over Petrovic, but I don't know. Has anybody answered that question? I mean, that would be interesting. Maybe I'll search that up. Why is Petrovic not playing? Okay, the thing on Facebook dated July 22nd. Petrovic not part of Chelsea squad for U.S. preseason tour due to small injury. He's expected to travel to U.S. later this week as soon as he's ready. Okay, I don't think that was ever true. I just don't understand. Here, this is what. Okay, let's go to Chelsea news. This is from 4 days ago. I'm interested in this, so let's pull it up. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, so Chelsea now moving forward in attempts to move out one key goalkeeper this month. Yes. Chelsea are reportedly now moving forward in their attempts to move out one key goalkeeper. Yeah, we just read that. As we know, the club still has many goalkeepers on the books, especially when you go down to the fringe and youth level too, as well as some already now out on loan for this season. And then you have a situation of Kepa Arrizabalaga, who is seemingly no closer to getting his permanent move away from the club now, which is what all parties want. You'd expect him to be gone by the end of the window before September arrives, though. I thought he was gone, honestly. I'm not going to lie. I thought he was gone already. But another goalkeeper who could go is now actually expected to go. This is from 4 days ago, by the way, is Georgi Petrovic, who was a key player for Chelsea under Mauricio Pochettino last season and earned the #1 spot off of Roberto Sanchez, or Robert. I keep wanting to call him Roberto. I don't know if that's racist or not. I mean, it just seems right when he got injured. Yeah, Petrovic to go on loan. Yeah, so again, he earned #1 spot because he was reliable last season, Petrovic. So, and now just one season after, he is going to be loaned out by Chelsea because apparently new head coach Enzo Maresca doesn't fancy him to play his style of football and prefers Sanchez. Okay, there's your answer, if that's true. Yep. Okay. So it seems that's what these guys are saying. Pretty much Maresca doesn't rate him for his style of football. What does that mean? That probably just means he doesn't like him on the ball. Period. Not that Sanchez looks particularly great on the ball. But, yeah, he doesn't think Petrovic is good enough on the ball. What else could it be? I don't really know. He's a better shot. He's a more reliable shot stopper than Sanchez. But it's clear that, Chelsea are trying to play out of the back, if that means anything. Okay. So, what was this? Oh, we're going through articles here. Ton of articles. Okay. All right, so that's what we got there. What else we got? Oh gosh, what does this mean? The Premier League record. This is good clickbait right here, man. Good job, Jack Drury, with all your clickbait, or whoever's writing your headlines, because this is great. The Premier League record. Chelsea almost set in Enzo Maresca's first game in charge. What record could Chelsea have set? What record is that? Shall we click? This is great clickbait, I tell you that much. Great clickbait. All right, we'll click. Okay, yeah, Chelsea was defeated. Offered very little threat on goal. True. Perhaps the biggest positive for the Blues is the fact a number of players who have had their recent months and years tarnished by injuries were able to compete at a top level again. Oh, okay. Great. Chelsea nearly break record for youngest opening day starting 11. We know that the club's trying to buy young and trying to pay less. So I don't think any Chelsea fans are thrilled by that record. We don't care. And we didn't even break it. Imagine that. Like, jeez, man. How good are you at getting clicks when your story is Chelsea almost break this record in the Premier League? And what's that record? The record is youngest starting 11. That we didn't break. We almost broke it. And nobody cares about that anyway. Great. Oh, this one. Jamie Redknapp says Chelsea have a world-class player who didn't even start at Man City. Who's he talking about? Okay. Redknapp describes Pedro Neto as world-class. Yeah, I think Pedro Neto looked great. There's a lot of excitement about what the Portuguese star can bring to his new club, with Jamie Redknapp even describing him as world-class before yesterday's game. He told Sky Sports, out of the signings they've made in the summer, Neto will be the one if, and it is, and if. they can keep him fit. He's a world-class player. I'm a massive fan of his. That's it. That's the whole story. Great. Okay. Let's go to 90 minutes. Well, you know what? Let's go to FOTMob. I'm curious to see what they might have over there. Chelsea in final stages. Okay, they're reporting on that Joao Felix again. That was 8 hours ago. It looks like there's a lot of places, a lot of periodicals reporting on Joao Felix. So that'll probably happen. I'm good with that. I would even consider him starting him ahead of Nicholas Jackson if he at times, you know, like tomorrow, if he was available, which he won't be, but if he was in a game such as that, like in a Conference League qualifier against a fifth place Swiss team, yeah, I would maybe see what he could do at the striker position, because the guy's quality and he's good in tight spaces where Nicholas Jackson ain't exactly it. But okay, Napoli working on Victor Osimhen's solution with Chelsea transfer blocked. Now, I haven't read too much about this, but I'm curious, you know, because if we had Osimhen, you know, like I said earlier, probably the difference between Chelsea and Manchester City, not because Chelsea were so great, but mostly because Manchester City weren't that great. The difference between Manchester City and Chelsea mostly yesterday was that Manchester City had Erling Haaland and we had nobody in the number 9 position that we could rely on to score a goal, that could drag us through a bad situation. But what's the complications? Okay. Napoli continue to work on sealing Victor Osimhen's exit from the club this summer, although a transfer for the long term Chelsea target is currently blocked, according to the club's sporting director. Let's maybe zoom in here a little bit. Okay. Having scored 76 goals for Napoli since arriving in 2020, Osimhen is yet to play for the club across 2 games so far this season as he hopes to secure a move. See, I also don't love that he seems pretty toxic about his club. Like, we understand he wants to move on, but the fact that he's behaving this way, and I don't know, it seems not great. Chelsea have been on Osimhen's tail since the autumn of 2022, although Napoli have always demanded a premium price for the Nigeria international. More recently, there has been talk of Romelu Lukaku, who remains at Chelsea, a Chelsea player joining Napoli as part of an overall deal that would see the Blues still needing to cough up around £60 million for Osimhen, which is obviously worth it. But I just saw reports of Conte wanting Lukaku. Does Napoli really want Lukaku? Yeah. Concerns toward the overall cost of the deal have seen things stall, however, with Chelsea expected to wait until the late stages of the transfer window before trying to get an agreement over the line. Yeah, this administration ain't trying to cough up the cash at this point. They're trying to change the complexion of Chelsea as a big spending club. I understand that. Maybe it needs to happen in one way or another. It's an objective fact. What the coach Antonio Conte said, the situation is blocked. Napoli chief Giovanni Manna told Sky Sport Italia. Victor is an important player with an important value and conditions. His desire is clear. We tried to maintain the integrity of the squad at this moment. We're not the only club in this situation, and we'll see what happens over the next 10 days. At this time, it is not right to say what sensations there are. We are working with his entourage to find the best solution. As we said, he is an important player, so it's not that we can just find him anywhere to play. Right. He is under contract for another 2 seasons, so clearly if we don't find a solution by 30 August, we'll have to talk to the player. Chelsea have been looking to add another striker to their squad this summer. So far, only 18-year-old Marc Guiu has arrived from Barcelona with a proposed £34.5 million deal for Atletico Madrid's Samu Omarodian collapsing despite a fee being agreed between the clubs. I don't really know much about him. Honestly, I would watch highlight about him. The Blues have since, why not? Let's close with that. Although, to be fair, probably not happening. The Blues have since been linked with former loan player Joao Felix once more, while the knock-on effect has delayed. Yeah, we know that where a lot of people are reporting on Chelsea having actually gone in for him, for Joao Felix. So let's check out the highlights of this dude. Quick one. Alaves. Didn't it just say he's at Atletico? Okay, whatever. Best goals and skills. Samu Omorodian. I don't know much about him. I don't know much about computers. Okay, header. This is Samu Omorodian. Was linked with Chelsea. Apparently that deal collapsed. But I don't know anything about him, so I'm willing to check him out. Highlights aren't everything, obviously, but the guy scores a lot of headers. So I'm not going to lie, is definitely good in situations where, I mean, I'm just saying that based on what we've seen so far. That was a bunch of headers. The fact is, sometimes, like, especially with a team like Chelsea not connecting, not putting things together, it's good to have a guy that can score headers. You can just pop those crosses in and maybe get a goal out of him. Ooh, okay, left foot. Is he a lefty? Is he a lefty? Yeah, he plays for... Oh, he's a righty. He plays for Atletico Madrid, so... When did he go to Atletico? I mean... Okay, he was on loan last season, so he hasn't really played a lot of matches for Atletico Madrid. I don't think he's played any matches for Atletico Madrid. Any competitive matches. Looks like he's not played a single match for them on... As far as... here he is playing against them, isn't it? Like, can you play against your team, your mother club in the La Liga? That's interesting. I didn't think that was a thing. Nice first touch. And nice turn. Okay, the guy seems classy. Looks big and strong. Like a handball there, but... So yeah, he's a Spanish international. He is 20 years old. Pretty dang tall, actually. 193 centimeters. Yeah, he's 6'3", 6'3" and a half. Pretty big. No wonder he scores headers. I wouldn't be upset. Look at this. Okay. Showing his, like, what, reserve team goals? Okay. This doesn't mean a whole lot, does it? But yeah, I wouldn't be too upset picking up just a big striker that can actually score headers when we need them, because I'm foreseeing not a whole lot of great connection going forward from Chelsea this season, and yeah, it would be good to get something going, from a striker on crosses, etc. All right, that'll do for me. I think that's enough. Well, it was good. We caught up a little bit, talked about what was going on this week. I'm satisfied. I think I'm going to do these more often. didn't have too many people come through, but did have a few. That was nice. Definitely was nice to see some comments. I'd like to see some more. That would be cool. If you're in here right currently, give the stream a like. Maybe subscribe. That would be nice. Maybe subscribe to the channel so I can see you in the future for future live streams, so we can catch up on what's going on at Chelsea, catch up what's going on in world of football. That's what I'm here to do, and that's what this little series, Peruse the News with Asaf, me. Yes. And so until next time, and I hope there will be a next time, I hope that you all live football and prosper. Guys, peace.
Soccer? But it's really called football. Soccer? The creators called it football. Soccer? You know, you play it with your feet. Reading between the headlines.